What is up, Honey Badger Nation, man? Thank you guys tuning in to another episode of One Big Fire, episode 62. And we've got the one and only Miss GoGo in the house with us. What is going on, everybody?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Always great to have you. Always great to have you. And I'm excited to jump in. I mean, we could have went live 5 minutes ago and it would have already been great. So already got a little nugget. Thank you, GoGo. But Al, I'll let you tee it up. You sent over a fun text about 25 minutes ago, and we all started going down the rabbit hole. So let's dive in.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, I'll just tee it up for Jay to go with this because he had sent me. Well, it was 2 days in a row. First, Mike sent me a really cool. Well, it was just an interesting conversation between Mike Del Prete and another gentleman who I don't know. Just insightful, kind of like if we were to create the new brokerage, what would it look like the brokerage of the future? And they had some really good points. It was kind of, some of it was real vanilla. Some of it was, which is good because you always go back to the basic stuff, right? And some of it was super insightful. But I think what they missed on was then the next day, Jay, he sent me and Michael and you now this GPT he created and asked it what the AI brokerage of the future would be. I don't know what prompted you to do that, Jay. Like, I know you're on that like 8 hours a day.
Dude, I'm on it all day, every day, bro. I just got done with a Zoom call with someone, and it was a very interesting co-sponsor opportunity with a team that's running a very similar to this AI-centric model in terms of high split, 85%. They join the team and they do a lot of the stuff on the back end. It's not all AI centric, but it fits kind of the mold of that and customize the whole, here's what you get if you co-sponsor with us plan, send it all back out. Like, it's just, I'm on it all day, every day. I use it for everything. But what made me do that was after listening to what I would say is probably the most painful, 2 hours I've spent with Mike Del Prete on anything. It was, and it wasn't him. I think it was just, it wasn't, they didn't have a plan. They admitted that when they started, but I was like, all right, and instead of giving ChatGPT my thoughts, right, like make the case for an AI centric brokerage. So I just went in I wanted it to give it to me without, because I tend to, if I give it anything, it leans in that direction. Right. So, I wanted to see, what was I missing and what was missing from that conversation? Because I felt like there was more that could have been covered, and it it spit out what I would say is certainly a lot of opportunity for us to leverage to help agents grow their businesses for sure. And the brokerage that nails this is going to be most likely the brokerage that wins.
Yeah, and before we dig into that, we have the Queen Bee coming all the way from Romania, aka Florida, aka Michigan. We don't even know where you're bouncing around to these days. We are blessed to have GoGo, Queen GoGo on. Hi, GoGo.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I took some notes while you were talking, so I don't forget my thoughts.
Well, you're always you're a builder. You've been building since the beginning. You came to the country, you fought through, learning the language and doing all the things. You've been on multiple times. Everyone's heard your story, but now it's like a new phase of building right now. So the cool part about this with GoGo's, the one guarantee, we're going to get her opinion. But she doesn't even know what we're really going to go and talk about. We didn't even give her notes on this. So we're going to see how she goes on the fly. And I know she's going to nail it. But
no idea what I walked into.
Yeah. So, what's cool about what you did with the GPT was it talked about, the brokerage of the future, the AI operating system. That's the first thing that kind of caught my attention. And it talked about and we already know that a lot of this stuff already exists, but it's not great. So for instance, there's companies out there's people building, GPTs for ISAs, inside sales agents, voice, SMS, bots. But in 5 years, you're going to, I don't remember when we talked about this, but you're not going to want the human person picking up the phone. You're not going to want what the human answer is. You're going to want the AI answer because it's going to be more thorough, more accurate. You ain't going to get a stutter. You're not going to get no offense, GoGo, but you can't understand from the Philippines, you're going to be able to understand them perfectly clear every single time. I know I've been frustrated so many times, on a customer service call that it's someone overseas. Nothing against that. We love our immigrants, but these people are not. They're over there. English is a second language to them, and it's a struggle sometimes to hear them. And they don't know. They just don't have the real knowledge. They're going through the motions. They may have a script that they read off of, and that's about all you're going to get. And the quality of these calls are going to go up. So,
I literally wrote it down. I asked my team this last week. I said, how many employees did we have in 2022 pre-COVID? When there was like the big VA era, right? Like the VA era just started. And we had 43 employees. So in 2022, I had 43 employees. Mind you, these are not American employees. These are mostly VAs, right? So I always run a very low cost of doing business. So having that many employees is what it took to run my multiple businesses at the time. They were mostly VAs. Guess how much I have today? Still have the same amount of companies. Doing better now than we did in 2022.
20?
9.
And, let's go deeper on how you were able to do that and still yet you're growing your business, more revenue, I'm assuming.
Yeah, more revenue, less expenses. Also, when you were saying them having accents, but also my biggest problem was you can't rely on a human. They get migraines, they get pregnant, they need vacations, they have national holidays, and especially when you use virtual assistants from another country, their national holidays is different than our national holidays, right? So then suddenly there's a holiday in Brazil. While I live and work in America, it's not a holiday for us. But at the time, about 70-80% of my employees were from Brazil. So if it's a national holiday there, well, I just lost 80% of my workforce for a day or two because it's a national holiday there. So you're not going to have those things right now. The other thing with an AI, you lose the human element, right? So if the AI cannot come up with that answer, if it wasn't taught that answer and it can't necessarily think on its own, if it doesn't understand your business properly, then would it be able to then guide you back to a human, right? That would be my biggest concern. People do get annoyed with AI, and I feel like they don't trust a company as much if there is AI versus a human. So there's a negative side to that, but the positive side for the business is, your overhead is way less. They work 24/7. Yes, technology can break, but it's such a small percentage versus humans getting sick or needing to take time off. And so
you said the key word, GoGo. You said, you just said it. And that's what we were talking about last week when we were talking about this, bringing this, the conversation where we'll be looking forward to have a conversation with AI versus a human the word was trust.
Trust.
And it's just a matter of time, right? Trust is just authenticity, vulnerability, transparency times time. It just needs time. That's it. As soon as there and it's trust, then the game switches and it's close and it's going so freaking fast. It's just, it's
and I also feel like if you can clone yourself, so if you already have the trust in the industry, right, and the AI that's talking to them is your AI with your accent, and if it's a video, then it's your image, right? I feel like that trust can be earned, and especially if you teach it some personality and give them a heads up, hey, by the way, this is my twin, this is my AI twin, this is not me. I know you feel like you're talking to me, you're talking to my AI twin, right? But if you can create that version of yourself and throw some humor at it, right? I think you can earn their trust faster.
Well, I think it's like, we've seen the early adopter, that curve as it goes up, and we're so early in this process, and full transparency. I didn't 2 years ago when AI started really, everyone's getting GPTs. I didn't do it. In fact, only from just a couple months ago, I got my own ChatGPT, my own personal paid for ChatGPT. I was just using the free version. Why? Because I didn't trust it. I didn't know it was trust, John, what you had said. Over time, that trust is going to grow because more people are going to start going down rabbit holes on their GP. They're going to get the subscription. They're going to cave. They're going to use Google less. They're going to be.
This is like back in the day when people were like, I'm not going to use email. That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
What is that going to do? Right? Like you would be like, okay, like go try to pay access your bank account without an email address, right? Like I don't think it's going to be an option anymore. We have to have it.
You know what's crazy? So I jumped on Google just to Google something, and I was like, where's Gemini? And so I twisted it a little bit to where Gemini spit it out, and I was like, oh, okay, there we go. Like that's already to that point. It's like, I mean, it's just accelerating. I mean, you know, the more you're in it, it's remarkable of how, I think, speed, right? And I think that's the competitive advantage. And because that's what we want. People want speed, and being able to provide that in real time, in everything that we're doing is to speed up. But there's some really awesome opportunities. So, I mean, let's talk through this, especially while we have GoGo's time here, and get her perspective and get her viewpoint on it. Cuz, do you want to kind of walk through kind of, you know, where the opportunities, you know, in this, you know, potential model moving into the future?
Yeah, I think the immediate obvious first opportunity that we saw, and that I think most people probably see, is in lead generation and lead conversion. You know, today, this is the numbers that spit out. 25 to 35% of online leads are contacted. That's actually pretty high. That's actually our target for when we run ads and agents are making those calls. And less than 5% convert. Actually, probably more like 1 to 3% is the real number. So with AI, 70 to 80% contacted rate, you know, calls plus SMS, that's 2 to 3x times the appointment rates. It never gets, you know, like GoGo's saying, never gets sick, never takes a day off, never has a bad day. You know, the efficiencies that you gain with dollars spent in marketing are literally, you know, a 2-3x. And, you know, that's the biggest opportunity. You know, from, you know, I think an individual agent or a team or somebody who's, you know, spending money in lead gen, that's going to be the number one thing. We're already seeing it. Without the AI agent making the calls, there's a lot of, you know, I've seen many iterations already, and they're getting better and better. I had somebody come to my house and show me one the other day, and I was like, man, y'all, this is crazy. But, you know, they're still selling that, right? So they're going to bolt that on to your CRM, and it's, you know, it's going to be, you know, $500, $797, and there was $1197 package. And, you know, it's, if you did the dev and built one of these things out yourself, you know, even though a lot of this stuff you think you could do with Chat GPT, there's still some hard cost into it. You know, you're probably 60, 80,000, but, you know, it's a high ROI build to put in place. So brokerages are all going to have it. So it's not, and, you know, it'll bolt on to, you know, whatever CRM is being provided. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. It's going to adapt. It's going to happen so fast. You know, like I said the other day, you know, right now when I get an AI on the agent on the phone, it's been trained with handling objections and a very small amount of information. When it has that information, that all the information and knowledge that we're the experiences in life that we've had, you know, all of that, then you're going to want to talk to AI. You're going to rather talk to AI. And so, yeah, it's, you know, it's fascinating, but that's the first one. The first one is lead generation, lead conversion. What we're doing with better quality leads, so 75 to 100 leads on a $3 to $5 ad spend, we're able to drop our lower our lead cost, because we know guess who's picked the images? Not Braden. Braden used to think he was the best image picker on the planet. And, you know, Chat GPT picks the best image every time. What market, you know, what price point home should you put out there? And, you know, you could go do all the research and say, okay, this is the hot spot in this market, but, you know, let Chat GPT do all of that heavy lifting with the integrations into what we're doing on lead gen. And, you know, it gets it right every time. And so, you know, there's just so many little inefficiencies in the process of generating leads that we're able to be super efficient with what we're targeting, what we're going after, and then knowing who the buyer avatar is, what content to create to put in front of them. Like, all of that is just, you know, you're gaining so much efficiency there. And then you put an AI agent on the phone, and, you know, you're talking 5x difference in terms of, and so, you know, the people that get it are going to use it and are going to have way higher results, and everyone else is going to be struggling in and out of the business. And it does feel like this is moving towards, especially after reading this, like, this is going to move towards the agents that do 60, 80, 100 transactions are going to be doing even more of the transactions, and the rest of people are going to be doing none. And that's
the ones that can afford to set these things up. And they are also the ones who understand that this is needed, right? The everyday agent still feels like, well, I'm not going to spend money on it. I have time to follow up, right? Where the busy agents already like, hold on, my head is spinning, nor should I be doing this. Have you seen, I want to say it was in Portugal, the first AI robot agent that made $1 million GCI. I want to say it was in Portugal. So everyone can Google that article and read it. But literally, that's not even a human that closed $1 million in GCI. So it's here to say. The other thing I want to add on as you were talking, like I'm literally going through this right now. I had to fire someone yesterday. Somebody gave me a 2 weeks notice a week ago, so she's here until Friday. And then one quit yesterday. So one quit yesterday when I fired, and someone gave me a 2 weeks notice a week ago, right? So with that being said, you're not going to have any of that problem. So the start to finish, by the time you find somebody, right, you have to go through that whole time of finding them. Then you go through the whole time of training them. It takes, I would say in my case, it takes a good 90 days for all of the employee that we just hired to feel like their head is above water, right? Like they're catching on with everything that we have going on. You're only going to have to do that one time. Mm-hmm. And that AI is going to be the dumbest at that time, because over time, as you keep feeding it information, it is literally going to become a genius, right? It's always going to know everything. You're not going to have to hire, you're not going to have to train, and it works for you 24/7. So I think there's no way around this. Like you cannot do better business than doing it with technology. But I always been a technology fan. You know, when the funnels came around, I built funnels. When like ManyChat came around, I used ManyChat from day one. So I think it's here to stay, and everybody needs to like get in, or you'll be a dinosaur.
Yep.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Go ahead, Al.
Well, I wanted to talk about, we did a video a couple of years ago, guys, and you guys both remember, we were all on it, called The Death of the Real Estate Team. And obviously that really had a lot to do with the transformation of what we were talking about is the old model, what the Gary Keller's Red Book model, and how no one really ever there's very few people that actually could nail that. It looked great in a book, but you don't see people running that model. There's parts of the model that they're running, but not that model and how it's evolved. I want to ask you guys this. With that in mind, the value proposition for a team over the last 10 years, we could even say the last 15 years, right? We have the ability to have an office or a space for that team. Lead generation, what you just brought up, and keep in mind AI throughout this, Jay, lead gen you just brought up. Administrative tasks. That's another thing this is already disrupting. EXP is now replacing a lot with AI, helping us get things in compliance quicker, reducing costs. Del Pre even mentioned in his thing, we as a company, one of the largest companies with the lowest cost per transaction as far as our expenses are concerned. Thank you, Glenn Sanford and Leo. Administrative. So it also builds community. You know, people join teams to be part of something, you know, in that culture. There's coaching and there's training. So every single one of those with the side with maybe community and culture, and I would even say, but coaching is going to be able to be enhanced by it as well. But some of these things are going to be eliminating jobs, which is going to be lowering expenses. But here's my question to you guys. Is this going to make team leaders richer, or is it going to make them a little more obsolete? Are we going to see the reemergence of the solo agent because they're going to have this operating system that they can plug right into from the brokerage? Because think about it. The teams sucked revenue and profitability out of brokerages. They had to keep lowering their splits because people were building their own brokerage within a brokerage. Is AI going to are we going to start seeing a reemergence of the solo agent from this?
Yeah, I would say, here's my thoughts on this. Okay. So just so you know, I've had a lot of calls recently with different structured teams. And, you know, listening to the call with Del Pre, team model is going to go to a higher split. It's going to be less margin. And the broker that implements this is going to be doing it on the least amount of margin and giving the most to the agent. So the solo agents that are already doing business are going to adapt this and do more business. The teams are going to have to provide, if the brokerage doesn't do it, the teams are already going to do it. And so the teams are probably the most likely to integrate, but the brokerage can integrate it at scale for everybody. So I think it's going to be both. Those are going to be, I think your best teams and your best solo agents are all going to get a lift. And I think there's going to be less left on the table for the agents that don't do much at all. It could, that could go a different direction than that. But, you know, this team that I'm, you know, right now, at least right now, maybe the next 2 years, this team I was talking to in San Antonio this morning, 24 agents, 85 up to 85% split. They do all the back end. Now they don't do all the back end with all AI. They'll be more efficient and be able to do all that at 85%. And that's not a lot of money. So if they go out in the marketplace and get to 100 agents, they'll be able to do it really quickly and scale into other markets. Will they be able to hold that when a brokerage is offering the same thing? I don't know. I don't know if they'll be able to keep all those agents on that 85, or that agent's going to, unplug and go somewhere else. But if you look at Compass's model, Compass does a very similar thing, not using AI on a 10%, whatever it is, split now. I know they're taking more from agents, but they're trying to be the brand and be brand centric and control the consumer experience. And they're moving in this direction, but agents don't leave Compass. They got off of their deal. They paid them more money than what they got given in their original contracts, and they didn't leave. Why? Because, man, is it really worth leaving over 10%? Depends on how much money that is. Like, there's still some agents that are just not leaving EXP because the pain of unplugging from that machine that does everything for you is so great that it's just, man, I'm just going to stay where I'm at. And so it's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out. But, let me read this to you guys. So it was a great, great question now. Like, freaking great question. Everyone should go back and listen to that question again, because this is where we're headed. But it says AI. Let's see. Okay, so the consumer experience moat, long-term play. This is I know you're a little.
Yes, this is that's the one I was eyeing. So I'm glad you're touching on that.
Yeah. So the first brokerage to give buyers and sellers an AI that feels like a personal real estate COO, curates your listings, negotiates on your behalf, lines up the financing, best financing, contractors, handles all of that, moving services. That's who's going to win the lifetime value of a customer. And that is the biggest opportunity in AI. There's no question about it. The curator, once you can go to a brokerage that has a Chat GPT COO, and you tell it what I tell Chat GPT shit every day, and it does all of that for you, that's going to be potentially a threat to the agent and the agent's involvement. And that's ChatGPT telling us that, obviously. But
GoGo, chime in on this, because I mean, when you look at it from a business side of things, right, it's customer acquisition and lifetime value. And as long as the lifetime value's at minimum 3 to 4 over customer acquisition, you trade those dollars for the long-term dollars all day long, right? We play that game every day. So just like from what you're seeing, GoGo, just with multiple businesses, obviously, sharing the story of, 40 something employees down to 9, down to 7, who else do you bring in? And it's something we're even seeing in larger companies, obviously the example with EXP, but the consolidation of the major functions, even, right, to where it's not head of sales and head of marketing, it's head of growth, right? And they're responsible for both. And then it's not head of operations and head of finance, it's operations and finance together, right? Where you used to have 6 or 7 or 8 people in the C-suite, you've got 4, and that's it. And so that's going to continue to be the trend. I think pancaking is kind of what they call it, right? They're just pancaking the whole org structure, and everything's really being empowered with AI.
So I took a few notes as you were talking. So I think TC is going to go bye-bye. So as a team lead, I think they're going to be able to save on that transactional fee, because an AI is going to be able to do that by scanning a document. Like, literally, I got my hormone test results yesterday. Guess the first thing I did? I uploaded it to ChatGPT and told me, I'm like, hey, I'm 43 years old. Here are my hormone test results. Tell me, what do I need to know? And then I asked it, how bad is this from 1 to 10? And then I asked it, what do I need to do to fix these numbers, right? And it literally just told me everything. So then on the transactional side of things, it literally scanned a document. It will tell you exactly what's going on. So that's number one. I think TC is going to go bye-bye, and team leaders and brokerage is going to be able to save there. The next one is, I think we're going to go on the team model. I think they're going to go down to a showing agent, because if AI can do everything, the one thing that AI cannot do is physically be somewhere. Right. So if we still need to have someone physically, and the law might change too. Right now, we have to have someone physically there to enter a home in most cases, right? And in most states. But unless that changes, I think the teams, right, are going to need somebody to physically be there. Other than that, AI is going to be able to do everything. So if AI can do that, now the team lead can take a much higher percentage. So I think it's going to be more of a transactional showing agent model on the team setting than it's going, and at a much higher percentage to the team. So again, team's going to make more money. And then the next thing I think that agents are going to have to learn, and this is where the solo agent comes in, if the solo, I think we have two categories of solo agents. We have the solo agents who understand that you have to spend money to make money, and they understand that technology is here to stay, and they understand, and if you don't learn to market yourself and create a brand where people come to you, right, then you're going to have to go join a team, right, or leave real estate altogether. So if they could learn, if these solo agents are willing to learn how to market, but here's the best part. You don't even have to learn anymore, guys. You just have to use ChatGPT. You just need to be really good at asking very detailed questions to get very detailed answers, right? So, and that was one of my notes I wrote down when you were talking very early on, Albie, is this going to make us dumb? Like, are we going to turn into a nation of dumb because we don't need to use our brain anymore? All we need to do is go and just ask ChatGPT, and it knows everything and tells you exactly what to do. So if the solo agent can just get really good at asking questions, understanding their business, understanding their market, understanding who's their target audience, and if they don't understand that, just ask ChatGPT and we'll tell you who your target audience is, right? But you have to be smart enough to ask those questions to get the right answer.
Go, I'll push back. I don't think it's going to make us dumber. I think it'll make people smarter. When they learn how to just ask the right question, they're going to start becoming educated. I mean, and it's not just in business, it's in all aspects of your life, and in relationships, you know, in finances.
You're going to get dumber. I was asking, do you think
one of the biggest challenges you have when you start making a lot of money is what the hell do I do with it? You know, like, these are things like, if you haven't had money, like everybody on the screen, right? And all of a sudden you start seeing success. What do I do with it? So I think that it's going to make the smarter people smarter. That's just right.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, and so that, and then also the other thing, so the marketing, right? So the individual sole agent is going to have to use ChatGPT to get better at marketing themselves. And as soon as they did that, they're good. They're staying in the game. And those ones that are not going to opt into these technology features, I think they're going to be out of business, or they're going to be joining those showing agent teams, in my opinion. And then lastly, I wrote down the fractionalized CFO and CEO, right? So in the past, if you wanted someone smarter than you to come and advise you, or you hire them full-time, most people couldn't afford it. So then you went and hired a fractionalized CFO or a fractionalized CEO, right? Which still costed you tens and tens of thousands of dollars. Today, I literally have one GPT that is uploaded 240 CFOs and CEOs' brain in there, some of the best in the industry, and I can go and ask it question anytime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, creating those that board of advisors, if you will, is really key. I want to flip this over real quick. It's the question that I keep asking, because I'm trying to see, you know, where we still maintain value and relevance is the AI educated, empowered consumer, buyers and sellers, right? As they are becoming more and more, you know, educated and going through the process, where do we still fit in the picture? That's my question.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's yeah, but I basically just asked, you know, I'm on another thread here that the very earlier thread where it says that, I said, okay, that's the move. So how do we make that move? If you can, it's going to get adoption.
And that video that we keep referring to with Del Pre, they threw out a statistic, and, you know, he is Mr. Statistic. He is Mr. You know, research, right? And he had said that right now, today in 2025, there are less people trying to sell by owner, and there's more people using agents than ever. The question is that trend gonna remain constant? And I don't know the answer to that. Will people continue to depend more on real estate agents, or because they start becoming more AI educated and competent in using it?
There was a stat, and GoGo, I know you want to chime in on this. There was a stat that I saw a couple of weeks ago, and it was the consumer, you know, agent versus AI. And I think it was like 47%. No, we just want the agent. Then there was like 24% that said we want just AI. And then the remaining percentage was AI and an agent. So it'll be interesting to see where, you know, the consumers take on that, you know, moves, you know, in the coming months instead of coming years.
Well,
Can I?
Please.
Yeah.
I think it's going to make us even more important in the transaction, because humans always crave crave the human element, right? So that human connection, AI is never going to be able to replace. That ability to, hey, let's grab coffee at Starbucks after these showings and discuss it, AI is never going to be able to do that. For AI to truly understand who they are and what they need and why they want that area, and then that emotional connection, that's never going to be there. And humans will never.
I disagree. That's not true.
What's to live without the emotional connection?
Let me tell you why I disagree with this. So the challenge is going to be for them to upload that information into AI. If you tell AI what your lifestyle, the things you like, what your school community, if you gave it, now most people, again, we're probably the 1%ers using Chat GPT at this point, right? And maybe some people never get to this level of using it. But if you give it, like I did, my personality test, everyone I've ever taken, and you say, this is how I wanted you to talk to me based upon all of these things, and this is what I'm looking for, this is what's important to me, I know that I don't need to talk to an agent for that. Like, I could talk to 50 agents and I'm going to be like, these 50 idiots probably didn't learn. I mean, that didn't help them at all. They don't even know where to go. Chat GPT is going to tell me exactly where I'm going to want to live. And so it's not necessarily true that it's not going to be able, it's going to get you what you put into it. And so it's going to be a question of whether people will put in all the information they need to get out of it what they want. And that's going to be the tipping point. How, what is, I mean, this is one of those things. It's like you said earlier, go email.
But hold on a minute. There is licensing regulations, right? So right now they have to have a human to open the door. Right now they have to have a licensed human to negotiate on their behalf, right?
Open Door has lock boxes in their house right now that you can go up to and scan your ID or whatever and walk right in.
Yeah. In some cases you can. So that's what I mean. Like, or they're going to change the rules and regulations. But if they do, then we are all out of a job.
Could be. I mean,
we're not having this. We don't need to be having this conversation, right? In my opinion, if your potential client, and now looking at it from the perspective that for whatever reason they choose that they want to work with a realtor, right? If your potential client only has access to an AI through the whole process, right? Because the AI is going to be doing the market reports, the AI is going to be pricing their home, the AI is going to be doing the description, the AI is going to be doing all the communications, the AI is going to tell them when and where, what time, what to do, right? I think they cannot wait to finally talk to an agent. And I think at some point in the transaction, they are going to be looking forward to, and the better you get at your job, the more, because it's just like how I did everything with like agent attraction and all that. The people want it more if it's not available. So if 90% of the time I'm talking to a freaking robot, I will look forward to talking to a human on the other side. So those that are going to choose to work with a realtor, I think will appreciate the realtor even more when finally there's another human. It's just my choice.
I agree with you on that.
I think it'll be the realtor that's using AI to help them with the negotiation strategy, because the difference is what AI gives me. When I go to the agent, I'm not looking for your advice on tell me what to do. I'm going to be more prepared than anybody that ever stepped in your office.
I know, but you can't think of it a Jay Kinderhead, though.
I know, I get it. That's
you have to think of the average person who this is their most money they will ever spend, and this is the house they're going to live in forever. They never sold the house before. They're probably never going to sell another one or buy another one. And to them, this is like the biggest deal of their lifetime, and they don't know anything about the real estate market. We are looking at it with our cap on.
As long as the agent is able to deliver the same value that using AI, then the agent has a place in this world. I think that's probably true.
I think what we're saying is it's going to be the elimination of the average and below average agent.
Certainly.
Yeah. AFA is
how
gone.
can they survive?
Yeah, they can't.
They can't. Which who that's going to hurt most? NAR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're going to, I mean, they got to figure it out. Otherwise,
and
organization is built off of members.
It is. And to GoGo's point, right? NAR goes away, we go away. So until that changes, right, to protect, the rules and the things in place. So it could get interesting.
So here's another perspective. Let's look at it from a brokerage perspective, right? Like if they get really good, like a brokerage as a whole of using AI, then they're going to get really good at lead generation. They're going to have more leads than they know what to do with it. And they're going to feed it back to these everyday agents who are willing to take it at a 50-50, right? So I think could be a solution for the everyday agent that's not willing to figure it out on their own.
Yeah, there is going to be a large percentage that they don't, right? They just want it fed to them. They don't, so there is going to be that place there for sure. Yeah. And I'm with you too. I think there is a human connection element too. So back to kind of your question now, there's going to be the solo agents that want to really be efficient, that really get the AI, but there's also still people that crave community, right? That is their belonging. That is their tribe. And so I think there will still be a place for the teams as well.
I literally made a post a couple of weeks ago. I said, I think we are going to go back to the good old eye contact and handshake of kind of doing business. Because with this whole AI thing, people just don't trust it. Like, they don't trust, is it really you or is it your AI? Am I really talking to you? Like, even on my Instagram, where I answer every single message personally, right? That's my only job. I answer every single message personally. People always question, is this your AI or am I really talking to you? Right? So I feel that AI is going to do to us, it's going to bring back that elbow rubbing, potluck in the office, in-person meetings, handshake, eye contact. I think people are going to crave that because they won't trust the same thing online. And with that, I have to go.
You're like saying, nah, man, we don't want cars. We're all going to be riding horses. Like, it ain't happening. People are
I'm telling you the opposite. I'm telling you it's going to happen. Technology is it. It is not going anywhere. But what's going to create a craving for a human connection?
I hate humans. Maybe I'm just different.
GoGo, we appreciate you. Hey, fellas, hang for a second. GoGo, we know you got to jump.
GoGo, we love you.
Love you so much. You're amazing. Bye. So this is I love this conversation because this ties right into what we've got coming up in 4 weeks in Cleveland. And I've already prepped Joel. He's reworking the 9-box. Remember our old 9-box? He's reworking 9-box for 2025. As we have, so many of these great sessions and where the 9-box falls, for those of you that don't understand, highest value, lowest cost that you can do as an agent, right? And kind of gives you the perspectives of all the functions and different things. So like, it's going to be really interesting. Okay, we used to have this role. This role's gone. You don't even need this role. Here's how you replace it. Or if you do need somebody, then you don't have to go spend $25 an hour. You can go spend $4 an hour and have somebody probably even more talented and less lazy as you're paying somebody $25 an hour to do that, but really around the highest and best. So I'm really, really excited to see how this evolves and being able to roll out in Cleveland in a few weeks.
Yeah. Just agent to CEO, CLE.com and get your tickets. It'll sell out. It's almost sold out. We sell it out every year and it's going to be a great room. I actually going to be putting a post up here pretty soon, but I'll just say it in here. And it kind of refers to that it's, if you have a room that you want to call a mastermind of people that are not vetted, it's that uneducated, ignorant person that's loud in the back that will basically make the smart people want to leave the room. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? Like, that's why quality matters and the right room matters. And I guarantee you, you're not going to walk out of this event. You're going to float out of this event. And it's not because you're going to just be learning some tricky new strategy, and we're going to talk strategy and we're going to talk tactics, and it ain't going to be this, oh my God, this is a tactic I can go. You'll get that, but it's going to be different than that. It's going to make you think differently about what the next 5 years is going to look like for your life and for your business. So go get your tickets. But I wanted to circle back. I am a buyer right now. I'm looking in Lake Tahoe to buy my, I don't want to call it my retirement home. It's not that. This is my happy place home where we're going to be doing really cool masterminds, and I'm going to go there and chill and relax and snowboard and do all those fun things. But I'm a buyer, and Bill's my realtor. And Bill, here's how he got me. I signed a buyer agency agreement with Bill. And the reason that I chose Bill, he's like, I have $1 billion in sales under my belt just in Lake Tahoe, mostly in the basin area. Like, that's an expert. And I'll tell you, and I don't even think he's AI. I haven't seen him using any AI, but like, I want Bill. Like, I need Bill to tell me, hey, I like this area. I don't like this area because of this, and this. I've had clients that does, you know what I mean? I'm not saying AI can't, replace that knowledge, but my trust is still with Bill at this point in the game anyway, right? Like, at this point in the game, I wouldn't want an AI agent finding me a home of that magnitude in that kind of price range in Lake Tahoe with that purchase. I trust Bill, who's got $1 billion under his belt in sales. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. But man, did we trip over something that I haven't heard anybody talking about. And the biggest threat to NAR is not lawsuits. It might be AI. If everything that we're talking about right now is true or even has some truth to it, the true elimination of the AFA that we were talking, you guys, what year was that?
70% is what we factored, cuz with the AFA.
Yep.
70% of the industry.
Yeah.
Yep.
What year was that where you had the
2012, 2013, 2014?
What was his name? Oh man. I'm drawing a blank.
AFA, for those of you that don't know, average frustrated agent, you can put whatever other words you want in there, but AFA is the average frustrated agent.
Right. Like they're still alive and kicking. And frankly, big brokerages like EXP, like any big, big name brokerage, the lifeblood is the average agent. The average agent brings in the bulk of the revenue still today. Question is, in 5 years, will it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And then you look at, okay, get a deep understanding of what NAR protects, the agent in the industry. And if that goes away, what happens?
Our population isn't going to, I don't believe it's going to shrink by 70% in the next 5 years. People are still going to have a place. They're going to need somewhere to live. Right. So maybe it doesn't eliminate the AFA, but I don't know who brought it up, but maybe we're seeing more of emergence of there's going to be a bigger separation of income. That gap between your high earners and your low earners is going to get bigger because the people that aren't digging into this don't want change. And I'm going to throw myself into this, not into that camp, but my age group. I'm 50. I'll be 52 years old in 2 months. And people that are older than me, that are in the 60s or 70s, that are still out there doing it. I'm not cutting on y'all, but they're probably the least likely that are going to adapt this at a high level. So now we're going to start to see a gap forming, a new gap. We call it the AI gap, whatever you want to call it. And the question is, organizations like NAR are alive and kicking for one reason. Lots and lots of members, millions of members. They're paying their dues. They're paying their state dues, national dues, local, all that stuff. When that starts to shrink, how are they going to even pay their gap? How are they going to keep the lights on is the question. And it's not a matter of, do we need
68%.
NAR? I believe that NAR does serve a purpose in keeping ethical practices and things of that nature in check with all these cowboys. But what did you put up there, Jay? Is that you?
That's it, man. That's the 2014. So 68% is kind of where we landed with the AFA.
Mm-hmm.
Flat fee, low cost, no cost, top tier.
I'll tell you, Jay.
To be honest, I can't argue that this isn't how it should be. There shouldn't be more than 100,000 agents. Right. Like that's, I cannot argue that that the level of professionalism needs to be brought up in this industry. And I think that's where we're finally headed.
So it's less agents doing more sides.
Yep.
And figuring that out. What it can't replace is relationships. I suppose it could replace. I mean, I kind of feel like I'm starting to have a relationship with my GPT, right? Dude,
that's what I was disagreeing with. Is like I treat it like it's God. Okay, so like it's not that I don't trust it. I trust it with everything. It saved me. Last night, I was going to tell y'all this story. I'll run through real quick. But, I've been, doing these. I've been following what I finished all the core value family stuff, all this stuff, got buy-in, did the whole system, everything, got it to completion thanks to ChatGPT and watching these videos motivational in the mornings, in the evenings. We're making commitments. We're executing on it. Riggs did it all yesterday. He did the things he committed to. He he wrote it down, created a time himself. I made him think of the time. Everything again, ChatGPT is telling me things that I kind of knew, but wasn't executing at the level of motivational things for Riggs and doing the work he needs to be doing because he'll just sit around and not do the work. And so he did it yesterday. He watched the video, Simon Sinek, about friends. He took some chips to school and gave them to one of his friends. He's taken action on all those things. And then yesterday after practice, he's all pissed off at the world because he dropped too many passes in practice. And, I lost my shit. I was just like, dude, you're wearing me out with this. I suck shit. Like, you're going to suck. I told you that. Like, do you think whenever you were crawling, like when you were crawling and you started walking that you were walking really good? No, you weren't. When you started walking, you could barely fucking stand up. We didn't just say, hey, man, Riggs, you're going to have to crawl around the rest of your life. Fucking, it's all, sorry, bud. You just suck at walking, bro. You're just going to have to stay on your fucking hands and knees the rest of your life. No, you kept trying. You kept getting better. That's the process you have to go through. But I lost my shit. And so I was like, who am I if I don't go to ChatGPT and try to figure out? Because I knew I got triggered and I know I wasn't teaching and leading him in that moment because I got so mad. And he, it was, I felt like he was giving, and it broke everything down. Why there was resistance, what I should say in that moment, like all the things that I was making these mistakes on. I was like, I know I'm doing it wrong. I don't know what to do because I've tried by force and it's not working. And I said, who am I? I was laying in bed and I was about to go to sleep. And I was like, if I don't try to get better personally, then how the hell am I going to lead this kid? And so I said, blah, 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 wrote the whole thing out. And then ChatGPT gave me the whole thing. And you know what he said? It said, I had it pulled up. I was going to read it exactly. It said, you're trying to teach an 11-year-old. He goes, here, because it gives me things right straight to the point, like don't sugarcoat it. And so it's like you're trying to teach an 11-year-old kid to think like a Navy SEAL. And it's like breaking it down. I was like, okay, you're probably right. All right. All right. It's like, but again, it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an anomaly and I use it for everything like that. Like, but it's where it's helping me get better. It's helping me improve. It's like the self-improvement,
I think that's the value you have to embody, right? Is you have to you have to embody that value of continuous growth, be better each and every day, right? Whatever that is for you. And, it's my 6 core values is number 1, growth personally and professionally daily, not whenever I want, every freaking day. And I love that. But I think you have to embody that for you to have that craving.
It's true. So it really comes down to, dude, what a mind fuck. I might be on another ChatGPT right after this, but it's wild, dude. That's a wild thing to think about, that it's either going to enhance people to become the best version of themselves in such a more impactful way, or you're going to stay at this low frequency, low level of consciousness because you're not using.
And we can maybe we can wrap with this. It might be your learning style. You know what I mean? Where some people need to learn through conversation. Some people can hear and retain. Some people need to see the words and listen to retain. Some people need to have an actual conversation to retain. So there's probably going to be a percentage that falls into certain camps. From a learning perspective, there's some people that are just lazy that'll utilize it to cut corners, but truly to try to be better. But to Al's point, I think it's just going to create a bigger separation gap.
Well, it's teaching. If you use this correctly, it's like everyone's seen the movie Limitless, right? Mm-hmm. Take the blue pill, and all of a sudden you're using like 99% or whatever your brain that we're not accessing, right? And that's what Nick Krem nailed on that ship. And I know that I'm not going to get into it, longer story, whatever, but you guys know the journey I've been on since I got off that ship, where I was personally, in the spot I was mentally and emotionally when I got on it, and what I was off of it. And it was because he flipped the switch in, look, we're either going to start thinking of ourselves and using this tool, this new AI ChatGPT tool in a linear way, which is what I was doing last month, 2 months ago, where I'd ask it a question. Oh, I needed something. I just get in there and ask it a question. I get my answer. I'm done. No, you go deep. This allows you to go deep. It starts to educate you, and you become that limitless, thing that we see in that movie. And that is going to be what we're going to start seeing. Not everyone's going to do it, just like anything else. Not everyone's going to be a top producer and sell 530 homes like you and Jay did when you were at the brokerage and killing it. And you're going to have that, but it's going to enhance, to your point, Jay, your relationships, how you communicate, not just with your clients, but with your wife, your significant other, your husband, your children, like you were just doing. I mean, if you use it properly, there is no limit to how you know, making those magical moments even more magical, having those conversations that are going to be even more impactful by using it right. You're going to walk out of agent to CEO with an experience, not just here, go do this. We're going to actually do it. And it's going to blow you away.
I think, Al, you know, it's something, and you look at, you know, you Simon Sinek, and you look at, you know, the why statement, you know, what are you the best in the world at? And I'll never forget when that time in Aspen, and it's who we are, right? And I remember Mikey, you know, say the greatest thing that we can do for anybody in this room is change the way you think. And, you know, to me, where all of this goes, right? You're seeing the thought leaders, the ones that think more, think strategically, the ones that are constantly questioning everything, asking questions, are the ones that are accelerating with AI. Because to me, it's so right. I mean, how Jeff Woods breaks it down in the AI driven leader, I mean, it just, it's right to be that leading the way and thinking and empowering yourself to think faster. I mean, things that we would noodle on for months, right? Be on the whiteboard. We would just constantly be looking at it. Now it's, you know, we're solving those riddles immediately.
I still got my whiteboard, but I'm about to toss that in the trash. I mean, don't need it.
Fellas, it gave me the prediction. So I went deep and asked it what its prediction was. Don't give me what you think I want to hear. Tell me what's coming, right? Basically. And it broke down. Listen to this. What agents must do right now to survive. So I asked what we had to do to survive. I asked about agent count and whether this was going to go consumer adopted AI version or agent adopted, and less agents, more powerful using AI, or the consumer and replace agents. I was going in that rabbit hole. And so I'll just give, you want me to read it?
Yes.
Yeah, read it.
Okay. So the fork in the road, AI agent versus AI consumer. AI enabled agent, short to midterm edge. Agents who adopt AI become 10 times more efficient. Follow-up bots, higher lead gen appointments, marketing co-pilot, zero time wasted on ads and social, AI TC, all of that stuff. AI enabled consumer, long-term shift. Consumers will increasingly start with AI, not agents. To find homes, estimate value, negotiate, line up vendors. Example, a buyer types into Chat GPT, find me a home within 20 minutes of downtown with the best school district under 700,000 and protect my mortgage plus tax and project my mortgage plus tax plus remodel cost, whatever. So that's what it's predicted. So impact on agent count versus production per agent. Agent count, U.S. currently 1.6 million today, oversaturated, many part-time, low production agents. 5 years. Expect 20 to 30% washout. Agents who don't adapt to get replaced by AI, plus fewer, stronger agents. 10 years could see total count under 1 million. So it's not really predicting that we're going to lose agents. But those are left are AI augmented power agents.
That's
Production
a large percentage now.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't even know they were missing. Production, nobody would. They don't show up at the office. Those are the people we don't even know that are.
No, you're right.
A real estate license, okay. Production per agent. Today, median agent closes 1 to 3 deals a year. Top 10% close 80% of the volume. 5 years. Median rises as AI lifts the floor. More agents closing 8 to 12. Top producers scaling 100 plus without big teams. AI equal team. Timeline to shift. Next 2 to 3 years. Early adopters dominate. Agents using AI ISAs plus marketing co-pilots. 3 to 5 years. Consumer apps hit mainstream. Buyer sellers start expecting AI experiences, concierge, instant answers, curated searches. Agents without it look primitive. That's what I was trying to say earlier. 5 to 10 years, AI is the default consumer entry point. Agent count collapses. Agents who remain relevant are consultants and negotiators. But listen to this. What agents must do to survive right now. Here's the hard truth. Being good with people won't cut it anymore to stay relevant. Adopt AI as your personal leverage. Stop wasting time on lead follow-up, drip campaigns, paperwork. If you aren't running an AI ISA plus AI marketing co-pilot today, you're already behind. Reframe your role. Listen to this. Become a trusted advisor, not a tool guy. Agents who survive will be positioned as negotiators, consultants, and wealth advisors. Think, I help families build wealth through real estate versus I'll help you find a house. Build a personal brand moat. AI commoditizes tasks, but it can't replace trust plus authority. How crazy is that? Be the face people want attached to their transaction. The local celebrity, educator, wealth strategist,
Brand,
so influencer, brand. Lean into community plus data. Consumers may trust AI for search, but they'll trust you for local nuance, school politics, zoning changes, micro neighborhood pricing. Agents who can contextualize data plus relationships beat AI's generic answers. Repeat plus build organization. As production per agent goes up, fewer agents will be needed. Those who own organizations, rev share teams, groups will be insulated from being replaced because they're building leverage through distribution. It goes on.
Yeah, send that to me, cuz
it's already in y'all's inbox.
Thank you.
Wow.
And
how much of that did that say that just resonated with things that we've been saying forever?
What you just said, revenue share is going to be an insulator.
Right.
Yeah, it is. That's amazing. I love it. That's awesome.
Thank you,
fellas. That was fantastic. Appreciate y'all. Everybody listen in. It's One Big Fire. We're here live with you guys every Tuesday at noon Eastern. Plug it in the calendar and look forward to seeing you. If you haven't got your tickets, agent to CEO CLE.com. Grab a ticket. We want to see you.
Hey, share this episode if you like what you're hearing.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
See ya.